Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace, joined again live by Mr. DT. What's going on, mate? Oh, you weren't expecting yourself to be straight on. Sorry, last week I didn't do it that way. I did an intro and brought you in. That's cool. DT finished whatever he's eating and drinking. And we'll go in a minute. We're here to talk in the first half anyway, all things Arsenal. Houssem Aouar, however it's pronounced, reportedly close to Arsenal on one hand, far away on another. Thomas Partey updates. Torreira, Guendouzi, Bellerin look like they are gone. And of course, you can get your questions in right now. Anything you want to ask DT about any subject, I'm sure he will oblige. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. Just busy. Football season's fast approaching. So, yeah, it's one of them. It's just trying to get ready, trying to get prepared. I've got my own team to get sorted for as well. So, double the workload. And, it's just weird in an Arsenal sense because we're still not going to stadiums. We're still, having to do watch-alongs and everything else. So this is the kind of new norm now. Everything that we were criticised for doing a few years ago, everyone's doing.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And interesting for me is, although I kind of miss, it's weird because the last 3 years we were just saying there off air because I watch football for the last 3 years from home. I don't, because of what I do. I cover all the top 6 teams. I don't go to games. I also don't watch any matches with the sound on because I can't because of copyright issues. So there being no crowd hasn't really changed the experience at all for me. I still sit there with the game on in silence, watching it, doing watch-alongs and whatever. But the AFTV watch-alongs, I have to say, from an entertainment's point of view, are just as good as the games. If I'm being honest, like obviously I don't get the same emotional connection to an Arsenal game that you do, but watching like some of the viral moments, some of the rants, some of the celebrations, it's good fun. Do you enjoy sort of taking part in it?
Yeah, I do. And you know what it is? You've had to learn a different aspect of watching football, knowing that everybody's watching your every move. And look, let's be honest, we've all done things when we're watching football. We've all shouted or thrown something or whatever it might be. And you're in the confines of your own house. Only you know what you're doing, or your missus or your kids or whoever you might wake up, my neighbors or whatever it is. So all of a sudden, everything's magnified, and it's like some things you don't even realize you're doing until after. You're to blame for some of the memes that have arisen involving me.
Bro, I have to say the Michael Jackson one, I don't even know why I did it because I normally don't do things like that. Because someone sent me the clip of you getting up and you kicked. And I was live, and I basically didn't speak for 10 minutes, and I made it. It made me die, bro. But it was funny. I suppose you watch it back after.
You know what it is? Because how many times have you seen a player go to do something with a ball or whatever, and you do the imaginary kick or the imaginary head, like you're trying to do that moment. So I remember what it was, and it's like Kolasinac's passed the ball back completely wrong, and I'm trying to recreate what he should have been doing, which is put your foot through it, man. So I'm just going, bam, kicking the air, put your foot through it, you dick. And it's and you don't realize what you've done until after. And then I was like, yeah, I could be like a Michael Jackson tribute act. It's like,
bro,
wow.
But you took it well. You changed your profile picture to Michael Jackson for a while, and it was taken well. It was it's one of those things where most things don't make me laugh, but your kick didn't. But I got it, and I think that's why yourself and Troops and the boys at AFTV are so popular, because you do things that most people think. The problem is that 95% of people don't know either how to articulate it or don't have the confidence to speak it. I remember being at the FIFA Best Awards with you years ago now, and people just coming up to you saying, "Oh, you say exactly how I think and feel." And I actually think that's some people's issue. I don't think people often disagree with your points. It's that they don't have the ability to articulate it, or they're a little bit too shy. Like you get a guy that's a good dancer in a nightclub. Everyone calls him. It's like, no, you just wish you could dance like that. That's the difference. I think it's the same. Yeah. But what
I know what you're saying. There's a lot of it. Is that FIFA events we went to, you were there and you saw what it was like. It was where there was quite a few of us, but where everybody was quite reserved, everyone was quite, you know, we're on what is effectively the red carpet. It was called the green carpet, obviously. You've got Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Brazilian Ronaldo. You're talking the biggest and best footballers, past and present. Diego Maradona. They're all walking down here. The press are all lined up next to us. We were right on the very end part of that.
The best bit as well.
And whilst everyone's there, kind of like this, just waiting their moment and seeing who comes along and being like, Lino, Cristiano. Right at the front is me and Troops. Yo, hey, Cristiano, come over here, bro. Take a picture with me, man. Lino, come here. Don't ignore me, bro. Don't ignore me. And like between me and him, we ended up getting over. Like you saw the people that come over. We had like Brazilian Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. We had all of them come over. And they were just looking at us like, what on earth is going on here? Like, they're obviously meant to be here, but like, they're not what we would normally expect in this area.
It's true, bro. And do you know what's interesting? Like, I've done a few interview with Jamie Jackson, really great journalist from the Guardian. I had Jan Fjortoff on. Of course, we know that Fabrizio has been on pretty much everybody's channel but mine. Cheers, Fabs. And he's on AFTV, I think, tomorrow night, as an example. I think more journalists, we've had Daniel Harris on our show, more journalists are now kind of getting involved with on the YouTube scene. I think they realize there's room for everybody to kind of merge. But at that point, I remember being with Ross, and you remember there was something that happened a day or so before with that event, and we were sitting there, and some snotty-nosed journalist sort of said to us, "Oh, who are you here with? What are you?" And Ross replied, "Oh, we're fan media." And they laughed and just said, there is no such thing. And I remember Ross just saying to them, just wait. And you fast forward now, nearly 3 years ago, about 3 years ago, it's just gone from strength to strength. And of course, the likes of AFTV, which includes yourself massively, Mark at the United Stand, I think are leading the way with what I look at as proper fan channels. I know there are lots of other big football channels, but a lot of them are owned by corporates or do you get what I mean? They're not kind of raw same way. You know, True Geordie, of course, doing a brilliant job over there with his thing. And it's just, I just don't see it slowing down. And I think what's really important is the collaborations and working together, because I think that the industry will continue to grow, and there's a lot of space for everyone. But no, I love what you guys do. And although I do watch alongs at the same time, I actually have your screen on with a little earpiece in so I can hear yourselves, because it does make me laugh, and I like seeing it. But in terms of DTFC, how's preparation for the new season?
We're ready. We're ready for the new season. We are 2 days away from our first league game, actual football league. Like, I still have to pinch myself sometimes to realize just what we're doing, and what I've managed to build in just over a year's time, from what was effectively me starting a team because Robbie sacked me from AFTV and I just wanted to get my own back.
Yeah.
And, I sat down with my boy Kieran, and I said to him, look, I want to take them on. I want to shut all of them up. I need you by my side to do it with me. And he was like, right, let's go do it. And then it's just snowballed from there to the point where we're now in league football. We've got players all contracted, like signed up with us. We've just taken on one guy who was ex-pro in Turkey and Cyprus. Like, the squad is ridiculous. I've had, saying that I'm tired, probably because since yesterday when we was training, I've had to cut my squad for Saturday's match to 16, because you've got a squad of 16, 5 subs. And I've had to go and drop a load of players that could easily be in that squad. And I've had to say, not this week, and why, and, what my reasoning behind it was, and everything else. But at the same time, you've got to be ruthless in your decisions, but not weak. You know what I mean? So it's like, you've got to be sympathetic to some people's, how they might feel about not being in the squad when they've worked so hard. Yeah. But at the same time, you've got to be ruthless with it. You've got to you know, put everything first. And, you know, like I say, with my assistants and everything else and people that are all behind me, is that whatever happens, it all falls back on me. You know, if we lose, everyone looks at me. Just the same way that if we win, everyone looks at me. It's my name, it's my team. So, you know, that's the same thing. So you've been doing commentary the last couple of weeks and stuff on the stuff that we're doing. And I think that, you know, anyone who's watching it now can start to see that there's an identity to the way that we play, the way that I want them to play. It's good football. It's on the floor. It's pass, it's move. It's, you know, organized. It's well drilled. And, you know, one of my coaches is UEFA B licensed. I mean,
I've watching yourselves play, having played Sunday League and stuff myself. Your levels above that, and the two teams you've had in your friendlies are probably decent sides, but they are stereotypical Sunday League, you know, or level. And I've been very thoroughly impressed with the way that your team plays. And of course, you know, I saw you dismantle the United stand. What was the score? Was it 7-8 goals you scored that night? I was there that night, and it was just the difference in class was massive. And when I think that me and my friends, well, not my football team, but me and my friends played you last summer, and you beat us 3-1. You know, and I thought, oh, decent side. But from that point till now, which is about 13, 14 months ago, the difference in your team is just night and day. And I think you guys have got every chance of, you know, the next 3 or 4 years progressing and actually moving yourselves on. And it's interesting, as you say, it kind of started maybe as a little bit of a vendetta, but it's actually maybe you've got your calling in terms of something you can do. You can grow and build yourself, because I mean, just with respect to Robbie and everyone there, you're certainly better than AFTV are at the moment. So
listen, mate, my one of my junior teams that I'm in the process of organizing is better than AFTV. It's like, so we're not sitting still. We've already, you know, our next 5 years are mapped out. You know, we've got our stadium for the next few years as well. Within under 10 years, I'm going to have my own stadium, and I'll say that now. And I already know the pathway and what we're going to do and the people that I've got behind me. By next season, we will have a women's team. We will have an academy. Everything's going to all be in place, and they're already, you know, virtually in place. The foundations are already there to, you know, do that. So this season is what we're solely focusing on, the main team. And we're in 4 cup competitions. You know, we're in an FA affiliated cup as well, which is like a next down from an FA Cup, something like that. Because it was too late and we weren't in the right step to get an FA Cup. But yeah, we're going for everything this season. I've said it. If we don't win the league, I'm going to be fuming. We're going for everything. So
that's good, mate. I remember you saying about a year ago, you were talking about those things. I remember some sort of people sort of being a bit, I wouldn't dismissive, I would say, is a respectful way to put it. Like, yeah, of course you are. Of course you're going to have your own stadium. Of course you're going to go into league football. But no, it's good to see you do it. Like, I like seeing people that have a dream, or they discover something they want to do, and they just get their head down and they do it. Do you know what I mean? That's what winning is for me. And even if you don't quite reach in the end the level that you think you can, at least you're giving it a go. Too many people want to do things, but they haven't got the get up and go to get off their ass and go out there and actually try it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. And listen, like with anything in any walk of life, if you really want something, go and get it. Don't ever sit there and regret. I've said this openly on my own social pages and stuff about family members that I've lost and stuff like that. And it makes you really appreciate life and understand that we're not here for a long time. So why sit and dream about things when you can try and make them a reality? Just go out there and enjoy yourself, man. We're here for a good time, not a long time, is the saying, isn't it? So
no, I agree, mate. I agree. I think that's why, you just got to go out there and I did the same thing with YouTube, and I've got no delusions. I know the size of a YouTuber I am. I know the sort of level of following that I have. I wouldn't even call myself an influencer. I don't think I am, but it's that case of it's something I wanted to do, and I decided 2 or 3 years ago, right, I'm just going to get my head down and work on it. And I built something that I like and I enjoy and I'm proud of. And I think not enough people go out there and do that. They see things and it's like, oh, they either throw jealousy at somebody that's got it, or they make excuses as to why they can't get there. And I'm not sort of about that life. So no, it's good to see, mate. In terms of Arsenal, so obviously soon sign Gabriel. That's now been announced as an example. The players going out, first of all, Torreira, Guendouzi, Bellerin are the three big names linked with fairly big moves away. How confident are you that all three of them will be gone in the coming weeks?
The Bellerin situation seems to have kind of happened rapidly over the last 48 hours to the point where it doesn't seem like a rumor anymore. It seems like there's some truth in it. So that'd be interesting. And I think the fact that Arsenal made this U-turn on Ainsley Maitland-Niles might also, hold weight as to why Bellerin might be sold. Torreira, from what I'm hearing, that's pretty much done. It's just in the announcement that hasn't been said about it yet. And I think a lot of people don't realize as well is that when you have the loans and the obligation to buy and stuff like that, there's a fee up front and everything else. So we're not going to lose him and not get any money for him now. We're going to get money, and that money is crucial for what we want to do. And I'm gutted about Lucas Torreira, to be honest, because I think for the first 6 months that he was here, everything was great. And then he had a little dip, which I think is customary for a lot of foreign players who come over and they don't get that Christmas break and they find all the teams coming thick and fast and they might have a bit of a dip in form. And then he picked it up again and we thought, okay, real big season next year. And we go again. And then Unai Emery decided he wanted to try and play him as a number 10. And it just fell apart and he just hasn't been the same. And sad to see him go, man. But I wish him well. And, Lucas always looks like somebody that's, I know he's not from Italy, but he looks homesick. Like Italy is home. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I get that. Yeah, it's. I thought he was going to be brilliant when I first saw him play. I remember, wow, it's £25 million. He looked. Though I thought he was going to come in and within a couple of years be at that Kante level of player. He looked set to grow and develop into that, which is true. Guendouzi and Bellerin. I mean, they're not really fan favorites, especially. Well, Guendouzi was for a while. That kind of dissipated during lockdown. Bellerin, most people haven't. Well, he's had a pop at AFTV before, so there's always been an element of people not being too bought in. Would you be glad to see the back of them, or do you still think there's a place for them in Arsenal?
Guendouzi, you know what it is with him, is that he's got undoubted talent, but his attitude stinks. And for people that don't actually realize, is that when we signed him from Lorient, he actually had a similar incident to this when he was there. There were problems behind the scenes with him and his attitude. It's also not the first time this has happened to him at Arsenal. It happened under Unai Emery. When Mikel Arteta first took over and we went on a mid-season break to Dubai, something happened over there. So we know following Premier League game, once we returned, it was against Newcastle. Guendouzi was omitted from the squad then. And then obviously the incident at Brighton. And I think it's got to a point when Mikel Arteta has looked at it and said, hold on a minute. I've not been here that long. You've already run into me once. You're not doing what I want to do. Why are there experienced senior players doing what I want them to do? But then there's you that just thinks you can do what you want. No, you know what? You're going to be punished properly. And from what I'm hearing is that Arsenal they wanted Guendouzi to apologise and to, admit his mistakes and move forward. And he's refused to apologise. So Mikel Arteta has just turned around and went, all right, bye-bye then. But I think in hindsight, maybe we showed our hand a little bit too much in this scenario, because the problem is now clubs that might be interested in Guendouzi know we don't want him. And they also know they've got a bit of an attitude problem. So they're not going to come in and go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to give you big money. They're going to sit there and go, all right, let's leave it until the point where Arsenal are like, you know what, we just need to get him off our hands. All right, we'll take... You know what I mean? It's like you look at the prices that Barcelona are getting for their players. Like they quoted Man United 55 million euros for Rakitic last year. He's just gone for like £1.5 to £2 million because everyone that's buying their players knows that they're in absolute turmoil, so they can bid what they want, and that's why clubs often play it down. And when you see like
Ollie's a great example at United. Whenever we're unhappy with our squad and he's in an interview and he says, "Oh, they're a great bunch of boys. I think they're brilliant." Everyone gets triggered and angry at him. I'm like, you do realize he's saying that for show. If he says they're all crap, you really think we can get a fair price in the market? If their manager says they're not good enough, it's people have got to understand how these things work. But no, I think he'll go. And Bellerin, is it Paris Saint-Germain? What I've seen is people say Arsenal fans don't rate Bellerin, yet Juve and Paris Saint-Germain and other top teams are looking at him. What is it they see that Arsenal don't? Or do you think they're crazy if they want him?
You know what it is? It's like some players suit other clubs better than others. And, we can look in hindsight and go, why didn't Juve see Thierry Henry and what he had? Why did they sell him to us for £10 million? Why did Dennis Bergkamp not work at Inter Milan? And Dennis Bergkamp was a big player when he signed for Inter Milan from Ajax. But it never worked. Sometimes, things become a little stale. Bellerin's been at Arsenal a very long time. And I think that if you're honest about it, he's never really had a real one full standout season. When he burst onto the scene, there was that moment and we were like, wow, who's this kid? Like, he's unreal. He had the pace, he had the awareness, just everything about him was brilliant. And then it just started going down and down. And then he picked up his injury. And even with Mikel Arteta there, and even with him putting in some really good performances towards the latter part of the season, I think he lost his pace. I think that he's one of those fullbacks where his pace got him out of a lot of trouble at times.
Yeah.
And I think once you lose that, then you lose something to your game. And I don't know, man. I just think maybe the French league might be a lot easier. The French league's a lot easier than the Premier League. Let's be real about it,
Yeah, of course.
At the end of the day, he's going to have to go into the Champions League, and that's when you're going to play against all the big boys and stuff. And when you've got the like Mbappe and Neymar and all them lot, 9 times out of 10 you'll win a game. But I just think that maybe it might be best for Hector to move on, and it would be best for all that's concerned. And looking at what the fan base is saying, because I mentioned about it the other day, and it's kind of mixed, to be honest. There's a lot of people that don't want him to go. There's a lot of people that feel that maybe Mikel can get the best out of him, because that's testament to Mikel Arteta, to be honest with you, and what he's doing with this squad and these players, because they're looking and going, look at what he's done with Mustafi and David Luiz. If he can do that with them, then what will he do with Bellerin? Give him another year. But have we got another year to waste? Can we risk losing Maitland-Niles, for example, and then in a year's time going, Bellerin ain't worked. We need to go and buy someone. Oh, no, we had someone there anyway. And I genuinely think that looking at it now, I've got a feeling that Arteta is going to stick with this 3-4-3, which is like a hybrid 4-3-3.
I agree.
It works well for us. David Luiz plays really well in a 3 rather than a 4. Kieran Tierney can revert back into a wing-back position because we have the likes of Gabriel and Saliba that can play on. Do
you think, though, if you keep that formation with the 3 at the back, do you think it will be Saliba and Gabriel either side of David Luiz?
It will be a natural right-footed centre-back and a left-footed centre-back on either side, because Mikel Arteta has made it very clear that he wants balance. So with the left-hand side, he's got Gabriel and he's got Pablo Mari.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 left-sided centre-backs. With the right-hand side, you've got Saliba, and then who else is going to stay out of the contingent that's there? Would it be Mustafi, or Socrates? Looks like he's out the door now as well. But that was evident because he doesn't play the style that Mikel Arteta wants to play. If you look at our first goal against Liverpool in the Community Shield, just beautiful. From the goalkeeper all the way through, Socrates is not going to be able to do that. He's not going to be able to take the ball in a difficult position and be relaxed enough to just pass around players like Mane, Salah, Firmino, etc. So,
Well, we saw that in the early stages under Unai Emery, when trying to play out from the back, and there just wasn't the personnel on the ball to do it. No. And they're just cheap goals to give away. So, no, I get that. I'm So as I said the other night, it's interesting really because we had Lee Gunner on last night, and we also had Agal on, and Agal's very positive. I mean, almost to Ty's level of positive about Arsenal. Sort of thinks you'll sign these players. He kind of said like he thinks that you're only marginally behind the Chelsea's and Man United can make it into the top 4 this year as an example. Lee kind of came on and Lee's thoughts. Doesn't think Arteta's the man right now. Thinks he's good but not the man, I think is what he said, and that it's going to be still a tough season for Arsenal. And I don't disagree with Lee. I feel like some Arsenal fans are getting a bit ahead of themselves. Some on social media, I'm sort of seeing with the signings we've made, top 4 is a guarantee for us. And I think that's a bit of a dangerous notion to put into your own head. It's only going to lead to outbursts later on down the line because everybody looks like improving their squads at the moment. But what do you expect for Arsenal? I know we're going to get onto the signings of Houssem Aouar and Partey in a bit. With what you've got right now, if you don't bring much more in, do you think you can make the top 4 in front of the Chelsea's? Because we know City and Liverpool are going to make it. Do you think you can get there in front of Man United and Chelsea yourself?
Well, one of the avenues we got into the Champions League is the Europa League as well. A lot of people forget that we've actually got 2 avenues, and Manchester United and Chelsea's avenue as a secondary way is to win the Champions League. And let's be honest, they're not going to win that.
No,
so,
no. Yeah,
our 2 options are more doable than Manchester United and Chelsea's 2 options. They've basically got 1, unless they drop down into the Europa League as well.
Yep, I get that.
So Arsenal's objective has to be to get into the top 4. It has to be. I think that what's key for Arsenal is consistency, because I think we've already shown under Mikel Arteta we can beat anyone. We've beaten Chelsea, we've beaten Liverpool twice, we've beaten Manchester United, we've beaten Manchester City. So everybody that's going to be competing for the top 4, we've beaten under Mikel Arteta. So if you add to that and make this team better, then it's down to consistency. Because on any given day, we have already proven we can beat anyone in the Premier League. Liverpool are the best, we've beaten them. Manchester City are the second best, we've beaten them. Chelsea are the third best, we've beaten them. Chelsea are the 4th best, sorry. Manchester United are the 3rd best. Yeah. They don't matter, we've beaten all of them. So we've beaten the whole top 4.
Yeah. I get that.
Arteta. So nobody can say that on our day, we can't beat any of these teams because we've proven it. What it is consistency, because we can beat you. Because, prime example that when we was going into the end part of the season, we beat Wolves away, Sheffield United away. We had this amazing cup run, done everything, and then we lost to Brighton. And then we lost to an understrength Spurs side. And it's consistency. It's those little things to not slip up against the teams that you should be beating.
Yeah, so, I think that's fair. And, I suppose the Arsenal are going to, whatever I've said where Arsenal will finish, I've sort of predicted 5th or 6th for Arsenal. And that's at the moment. That's as things stand. That could change because depends who else United bring in, depends what Spurs do. But that isn't, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful to Arsenal. I just feel that they're going to improve. I feel they're going to be a much better team this season under Arteta. But I also get the sense that Man United, Tottenham, Chelsea, City, maybe, I don't think Liverpool will get any better because I think they're pretty much as good as a team can ever be. I think all those teams will improve as well. So it's not so much about saying Arsenal are not getting better. This is going to be Arteta's first full season where you've got Lampard going into his second, Ole going into his second. As an example, Jose's going into his first, but he's an experienced manager with a brilliant squad that just needs to be sort of reawakened. So it's going to be an uphill task. But if Arsenal do get top 4, which they are capable of doing, then for me, it's a massive, massive achievement to go from almost finishing 10th to jump into that position. And it's a massive L for the Man United and Chelsea, who I think have to be put down with United are going to sign more than Van der Beek. The Sancho deal is coming alive again. And if you bring Sancho in and Van der Beek with what we've already got, if you're not making top 4, it's an embarrassment.
If you don't make top 4, then Ole's out.
Oh, mate, I agree. I mean, context is always important. It depends, what else we win, how well we're playing. But as a general rule, I think that's right. And the same as Lampard. I mean, I think if Lampard isn't pushing for a title, he could be out. With, he's had 322 million pounds spent on his squad since he's been there. So it's I think what's nice for Arteta, I think he comes into the season a little bit like Lampard last year for different reasons, where there isn't going to be this intense pressure from the mainstream media, the TV stations on him to finish in the top 4. And maybe there's an element of sort of that dark horse mentality that can creep in.
Definitely is that side of things. Just quickly on that point as well, though, that with us going into the season, I think it's important that the one signing that we do have to get is a creative midfielder. I know we're looking any day now to bring Danny Ceballos back, but I'm on top of him. We still need that creative player because
this lad from Lyon.
Yeah, well, him or Coutinho, because at the end of the day, one of the biggest problems we have is that when we face teams with low blocks, and it's breaking those down, and you find the teams that do that are the ones lower down the table, and they look and they go, yeah, you know what? We're not going to go and play expansive football against Arsenal because Ober's going to peel off the back, boom, good night, goal. So we're going to do something that works to our benefit. And that's where we need to be able to change and have the right players to break those teams down, because teams that play low blocks, once you get that first goal,
they tend to open up. Yeah, they tend to open up, and that's absolutely right. Do you think Arsenal have the finances? I mean, there was the rumours yesterday the agent of Van der Beek said you wanted him from a creative point of view, but couldn't afford or didn't have the 35 million. Do you think that rules you out of the Houssem Aouar deal, or do you think that's just nonsense talk?
No, I think that's just the agent chatting out of his backside, and it's like, it's not that I don't rate, whatever his name is. Donald Duck, Beak, whatever his name is. But it's like, we don't need him.
You don't think you need him?
No.
Why? He's quality.
He might be quality, but we don't need him.
He's a creative midfielder.
Nah, I wouldn't say he's a creative. I said, well, I'm not going to get too much into it about certain things, but I know that he was being compared to Frank Lampard.
Well, listen, I know, like Mark, I have to say, I know Mark, I've said the same thing, by the way. Mark obviously just gets more traction than me. I don't think Mark compared him to Lampard. Mark did what I did, I think, when I've interpreted it. Is there's one element of Donny van der Beek. He runs into the box. That's something that, for me, Lampard was famous for, those late runs into the box to pick up the ball and try and score. Donny van der Beek does that. I mean, he touches the ball in the box a ridiculous amount of times in comparison to his contemporaries. Sort of, if you compare him to, say, KDB and Bruno, for instance, double the amount of touches in the box as his opponents. I think that element is very similar to Lampard. Aside from that, I don't think there isn't. I think technically he's a technically better football player than Frank Lampard was in terms of passing, movement, touch, control. But listen, you're never going to touch Lampard's goals in the Premier League, so I don't want to.
I think one of the reasons why he arrives late in the box is because he's slow.
I see, ladies and gentlemen, tuning in. That's the difference between serious analyzing and banter. But you saying that would trigger people. It's like someone with a brain can understand that DTs. You actually got coaching badges yourself, haven't you?
Hey, listen, don't worry about that. I'm looking to take over a Premier League team soon, man.
I tell you what. The reason I asked that, didn't you do some training or some coaching badges with Nangelsmann?
See?
Nangelsmann. I saw a tweet and I didn't quite get it, but
yeah, no, there was a lot of people that had a bit of a meltdown when we put when I put the picture up. Don't worry, listen. Hey, listen, dark horse, mate. Don't you worry about me.
No, I get that. Listen, everyone who's tuning in, smash the like button for me. We have added the StreamYard links. If you want to come on there, have something to say. I know DT enjoyed this last week. You guys came on and had your say. I did actually give some feedback to the guys that came on. I was like, speak with your chest. The amount of them that started speaking and just they got a bit nervous when they saw DT's face. It made me die.
Hey, listen, can I just say the funniest thing, yeah? That show last week, yeah, I completely rattled the whole entire fan base. It was beautiful.
Bruv, the Chelsea fans, I still think they're gunning for you. Anita was like rattled. I think she texted me saying, this guy. But yeah, I don't know if you're going to try and come on now, but yeah, it's up to them.
The thing is, Terry, you know me long enough, yeah? They can say what they want as much as they want, and I'll sit here with a big grin on my face, finding it highly amusing.
I get that, bro. I get that completely. Comment here says, DT, do you think Arsenal should not be in the Europa League to build the foundation and develop? I think the Europa League stagnates development.
Initially, I actually thought that, but then it was made very apparent that us qualifying for the Europa League was what we needed to do to get certain amounts of revenue and players through the door.
Yeah.
So I've looked at the bigger picture, and it's, we need the money through the door, and we need certain players through the door. So going to Kazakhstan for a year ain't really going to be much of a difference. Plus, it don't matter to us. We ain't going anymore.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you're just watching from home now, which makes a lot of sense.
That's what I mean. I love it because when the Premier League announced the TV fixtures a couple of weeks ago, like last week or something, they put our game at Anfield on a Monday night. Normally, I would sit there, see that announcement, and I'd be like, you're taking the piss. Liverpool on a Monday? You think I'm going up the M6 on a Monday night? I'm not going to get into about 4 a.m, you wankers.
Yeah.
But now I look at it and I go, Monday? Oh, that'd be a pleasant evening.
And that's the thing, the difference between match-going fans and when you're, and I mean this with respect when I say an armchair fan, is you look at it, when you see a brilliant Monday night game, you think, oh, great, because you're getting from work, you go gym, you go have your dinner, you have a shower, you sit down, and you enjoy the football match. When you're actually going to the damn thing, it's a whole different kettle of fish. We're going to jump into some of these calls. First up, Samuel, the Gooner. Very giddy to see you last week. Samuel, welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
Hey, bro.
No, well, I'm just gonna say this. I think we're in a far better shape now than we were if we looked at a couple of months ago, because under Unai Emery, football terrorist Emery, as I should say, I think I compare him to Terry Neill as his time at Arsenal. Maybe Terry Neill was better than Unai Emery, in my opinion. Arteta has lifted the mood of the club completely, and Bellerin can, bugger off, in my opinion, because he's not good enough for the club. And the things, acting like a model, going to these fashion shows. Paris, I know why he wants to go Paris, because all these Dior fashion shows, maybe it's all good for him now, getting the Dior fashion, the Gucci, in the streets of Paris, it's all good. But, some of the things he did, like, I want players like you had Vieiras, your Dixons, your Lawrence, and your Tony Adams. I want players like that now. I'm sick and tired of these players, and the attack on EFT was disgusting for me because it's not really their fault. That's what I don't get. I mean, so, although the money for Bellerin, I'm happy. I look back on the 50 mil from Barca, I regret not taking that money every day.
There we go. Samuel, thanks for coming on, mate. We're going to jump on some more calls. That was just more, I just want to smile at DT's face I saw there. We've got Matty G on next. That was, he's just smiling at your face. Matty G's on now. Matty G, what do you want to say, my friend?
Well, one, I just want to say I'm a big fan of DT because I always watch his reaction videos on after AFTV after their games. And I just have one or two quick questions. I've always wondered, DT, what's your impression? What do you think of Liverpool fans? Since I'm in America, so I don't really get to experience that. And I actually liked the signing of Gabriel, but do you think Arteta is going to start going for the younger players instead of buying like the perfect package like the Van Dijk? And this Aouar signing, I'm actually a little bit worried because your attack was deadly, so I was scared of that, and the defense is slowly getting better. So I thought maybe we still have the midfield. Now that's up in smoke. So I think it might be challenging for the title with Arteta, but I still think it might be a few years though. I just want your opinion on those.
First point would be it was like, what do I think of Liverpool fans? Right. So you're obviously on about Liverpool fans as in Anfield.
Yes, and in general.
Yeah, I'm about to rattle the whole of Liverpool now, aren't I? Well, so about Liverpool is that before the game, when You Never Walk Alone comes on, it's amazing. The atmosphere is electric. It's like something I can't even describe. I can't even put it into words how amazing it is, especially on a Champions League night. And I've been there on a Champions League night when Arsenal played there. And there's just something about the place. It's unreal. But the moment the ref kicks off the game, it turns into Man City.
Well, quiet, you mean? No atmosphere, no noise.
Quiet. There's no atmosphere. There's nothing. It's just flat. And something's got to happen for there to be a reaction. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, like a bad tackle or a goal or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So, you know, and I've been there as an Arsenal fan and seen it at times where we've been dominating games, and, you know, the famous songs from the terraces of the Arsenal end is "Where's Your Famous Atmosphere?" So it's, you know, and I've got mates that are Liverpool fans, you know, Scousers that lifelong go to the games and stuff, and they say that, you know, there are various reasons as to why they think it might be or whatever it is, but I think maybe some of it's modern football, maybe the seating, the fact that you're told what to do all the time by stewards now as well. That's something that's difficult, especially in the modern stadiums and stuff. And I know myself at Arsenal, it's you stand up and it's sit down. You're under threat of having your season ticket book taken away from you and everything. So, yeah, it's one of them. Before a game, Anfield's amazing. Don't get me wrong. But when the game's on, it's nothing special. Nothing special. And I've opened my eyes to foreign fans a lot in recent years, maybe because of AFTV, because beforehand, I'm from an older generation. So I'm looking at it like, you're not as committed as me because I go to every single game. Yeah, that's my mindset of how it was. It was like, I'm a proper fan. I go to every game. I travel all around the world watching Arsenal. You know, I've been going this amount of years, X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. My opinion's more than yours. And then obviously going into AFTV, doing that and meeting foreign fans from just France, for example, which is just across the water, or halfway around the world when we've been to Singapore and places like that. And you sit there and you meet these fans and you hear the stories and you see the times that they get up for some of the games and everything else. And you sit there and think to yourself, wow, like they're just as committed, but in their own way.
Yeah.
You know, and we're lucky that we live in a country and close to the Emirates and things like that, so we can go to games. It's not their fault they were born in Australia or Pakistan or India or America or wherever it is across the world. We're lucky, we're blessed to live right there. So, yeah, I've opened my eyes to football fans all across the world. And, yeah, I think that it's amazing seeing it. I love nothing more than going around the world now and meeting fans and talking to people. And, you know, the guy you just had on there as well, he's in America. You know, and it's
exactly. It's something that, you know, being called a glory hunter my whole life, and I kind of get why people would call you that, but it's just it happens. You can't help a level with, unless you're mate, like you're in a position where like family pass it down. You've met my dad, you know, he's like he should have made us Spurs fans. I'm really glad he didn't. Like my kids have got no excuse, but you know, you might have a lad who's born in America. His dad's a Man United fan. He introduces him to him. He can't help the fact he can't go to a game each week or in Arsenal. But as you say, when these people are getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch football, that's got to be respected. Next on the show, we have Sebin. Sebin, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine, mate. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
No problem. What do you want to say?
I'm an Arsenal fan, and my question is to DT. DT, what I'm asking is that we have been linked with all this Partey and such players, high class caliber and all those things. I was wondering, why couldn't we just follow a system of a club like an Leipzig, where we are focusing on trying to get the players in the age of say 20 to 25, and trying to build a club from there on. Because the way I think that the only way we are going to fight for the title is 3-4 years down the line, when when this cycle of a club like a Liverpool or a club like Manchester City is going to end, which is something that Chelsea has been doing. Everyone is saying that they will be challenging for this year, which is going to be very difficult. But 2-3 years down the line, they are going to do it. What I want Arsenal to do is that go in such a way where we are able to get players in the range of 20 to 23. Someone like a Dominic Szoboszlai will be brilliant from RB Salzburg, and players like Ibrahim Zangare, then players of such ilk, rather than going for a Partey. Because I think with the thing, I'm not saying Partey is a bad player or not. He's a brilliant player, but I believe that he's in the age of 27, and maybe 2-3 years down the line when he's 30, and when we are going for the title, I do believe that is going to be a disadvantage for us. So what do you think about that? Because I personally want us to be building slowly down the line. In 2-3 years we will be having that, and that is one thing that Arteta has been doing brilliantly. He's been working brilliantly with the young players too. So what do you say about that, DT?
For every good youngster that you have in a side, you need experience first and foremost. And there's certain areas of a pitch where you need experience and you need older heads to be able to do things. This is one of the reasons why I think we brought Willian in, because it's an area of pitch where we've effectively got two 18-year-old boys in Saka and Martinelli, and they need experience and they need guidance to help them through the next couple of years while they're learning and growing. Thomas Partey is a player in a position that's become very evident as being key in the Premier League. And I think that you need to go out and buy those kind of players. Not Kante's don't come along at any moment. You got to remember when he was bought by Leicester, everyone was going, who's this guy? And then he transformed them, and then he went to Chelsea and he's just an immense player. So finding ones like him are few and far between. What you get with Thomas Partey is proven. And if over the next 3-4 years, Thomas Partey comes in, helps us get into the Champions League, helps us challenge for the Premier League, and ultimately helps us challenge for the Champions League, then what those 3-4 years of having him there will do is give us time to build as a club and make it a lot easier to buy another Thomas Partey. And then you've got a lot more that you can say to clubs. Because at the moment, we're looking at it and going, yeah, we're Arsenal Football Club. We're the third biggest club in world football. But we're in the Europa League. We ain't had a great time. We're not challenging for the title. So we've got to do a lot of work to try and convince these people to come. But if in 3-4 years' time, we're in a position where Liverpool are now, you can go to these players with everything behind you and say, come and be a part of what we've got. And it's a lot easier. I just feel that Thomas Partey is a player in a position that needs experience massively.
I agree with you, mate. Listen, thank you very much for that question, my friend. Thank you very much. We're going to throw in Elite KJ and Latimus Prime into the show here. Boys, how you doing? You good?
Yeah, man. I'm fresh. Good to see you again, DT. Prime.
How you doing?
All good. No shades, bro. No shades.
No sunglasses tonight, Prime. I mean, you might need that t-shirt. That t-shirt is bright, bruv. That is
yeah, I know. But
you look like
I know what DT is like. I'm not giving him ammunition. That's fine.
Nah, bro. It's your team, fam. Sean Kingston vibes. You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
You see. I don't want to give the ammunition, but it's
Prime, what's in your mind, mate? What you saying?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just thinking, DT, how far away do you think Arsenal are from United and Chelsea, respectively? In terms of, because like Chelsea and United, they're both trying to, like, if United get their signings, Sancho and a DM, maybe a left back or a centre back, they would like to at least challenge for the league. With Chelsea, the expectations are the money we spent and everything is to challenge for the league. So how far would Arsenal be from getting beyond United and Chelsea and winning the league and stuff?
Last season, let's be real, all three of us were crap. There was no great team. There wasn't a lot between us. I think that
like how many? Wait.
KJ.
Wait, ain't that like 4 or 5 positions?
What does that mean?
No, bro.
Do you really think that Stop worrying about where Arsenal finished in the league.
I'm not. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to hear you from down there, fam. I just hear
Listen,
this little breeze.
First and foremost,
I'm hearing this little breeze come past my ear, bro.
Wait. Right, you're gonna stop talking now, or you froze. You're right, yeah. Okay, cool. Right. So, firstly, I don't even know who you support.
United,
Are you a Man United? United, right. Now, you should be more worried about how far you are behind top than how far you are ahead of 8th. Okay, because there's not much of a difference between 4th and 8th in comparison to top. Your biggest rivals have just walked the Premier League, and you're sitting there going, "Oh, but Arsenal finished this much."
Yeah, because you mentioned our team in your mouth.
I couldn't care. I couldn't care where Man United finished. I couldn't care where Chelsea finished. I know we're poor. I know we were poor. But when you look at it in the cold light of day, Arsenal had a better season than Chelsea and Manchester United because we won a trophy. You want to sit there and talk about finishing in the top 4? The same thing you mocked Arsenal about for years. I know where we want to go. I know what we want to do. In terms of last season, the only thing that Chelsea and Manchester United had over Arsenal was they were more consistent. When they needed to put a run together and get wins to put them into that top 4 and get Champions League football, they were able to do it. Arsenal weren't consistent. We were kept falling. We kept losing. We were all over the place. Manchester United had a run where Ollie was back at the wheel again. And that was enough to get them into the top 4. Chelsea, they had a run from before COVID, which helped propel them where they were. And then there was some good moments and some bad moments after COVID. And I think what helped Chelsea was the fact that Leicester completely fell apart as well. It helped both of you, because if Leicester would have maintained their run, then Man United would have been in the Champions League. So it wasn't a good season. And I don't get where Manchester United and Chelsea fans can talk about it. Chelsea have got a bit more right to say that it was better because they were on a transfer ban and they lost Hazard and everything else. So, yeah, they can turn around and go, you know what? In Frank's first season, we'll take that. We're happy. But are you as a Man United fan happy? Come on, man.
Am I happy that we finished? Yo, listen.
Let's look at the reality. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, 7 seasons. 7. If you want to use your fingers and count, 7. Right? Okay? In 7 seasons, you finished above us twice. How many trophies have you won in comparison to Arsenal? Less. Come on now.
You're asking me a question here now. So
come on now.
Your top lip, bottom lip, meet in the middle and let them stay there, right? For 2 seconds.
You can talk.
My brother. All right, cool, my G. All right, so in terms of in terms of the United being, are we happy as United fans that we finished 3rd? In terms of this season, yeah, we are, because we show progression. You mentioned the 7 years. In those 7 years, we haven't been good enough. But this is the first season in a while that we saw a team, that we see a way of playing and a direction that we're going in, and we can believe in, like, yeah, we're going in the right way. Where we was mocking Arsenal fans for years and years for finishing 4th and the 4th cup and stuff, is because you man were going nowhere in those times. You man were just stagnant, staying in that 4th spot. Maybe sometimes you'll get 3rd, maybe a cheeky 2nd because Spurs ruined their run and slipped up. That's the only reason why you finished 2nd that season. You know what I'm saying? We are seeing direction, and I can see a bit of direction now with Arsenal, but to say that you're winning the FA Cup and Arteta's now automatically this savior is a nonsense. I've seen Di Matteo win a Champions League, buff, and look how that season went afterwards. It's not all. Yes, trophies are good, but if those trophies do not progress your team, you might as well just have a nice little cup to drink out of, fam. Like, is what it is.
But we're already progressed. And the thing is, Terry, let me just say something as well, right? Because this whole thing about Manchester United being on this next level and going forward and everything else. Listen, it was only a week ago before you signed Donald Duck that you were talking about how you want Woodward out and it's all falling apart. Manchester United fans were going mad on social media saying even Arsenal are more active in the transfer window. It's a joke.
Yeah, that's certain man online, man. I was sitting here, Terry,
listen, wait, don't make me get my whistle out. It's my time. Yeah, my time.
Why do you have a whistler? You're a referee.
The only I was at training yesterday. That's why my whistle's in my face. So just enough, right? So the only team at the moment that can sit there and go, you know what, transfer window wise, we're smashing it is Chelsea, because they're having a mad window, and respecting them for it. Because, but anybody that couldn't see this transfer window from Chelsea was blind.
Yeah,
because we all knew it. They were on a transfer ban. They were saving up that money for the season. Then they had the money from Hazard, Morata, and everything else. So this was all there. Then all of a sudden, bang, COVID comes along. Financial fair play gets scrapped for the year. And Roman's like, boy, let's go. It's all over again. And so, but the pressures that Chelsea will now face are massive. Because when you're spending, you know, if it would have been just Timo Werner, for example, you could have said, all right, that's a good addition and there's not too much pressure. But when you've bought in Werner, Havertz, the one from Ziyech and all that, you've got a challenge for the Premier League. They're players you have to challenge for the Premier League next season.
Big club have big expectations, DT, so that's what it's all about. Something you brought up is actually quite interesting. You said it's about winning trophies. So does that then mean that your invincible team is not as good as United's treble when City Centurions won the domestic, quadruple, Jose's early Chelsea team when he won the Prem and the, what was it then called, the League Cup? Those teams both won more trophies in a single season than the Invincibles did.
You've got to put it into context. You've got to put each individual trophy, you've got to put each individual trophy and the meaning behind them in context. The Invincibles is not just a trophy; it's going a whole season unbeaten. Yeah, that's not.
Wait, no, that's not true. Though. That's where you lost in the Champions League and all that.
Listen, hold on a minute. The Invincible season, how many Premier League games did we lose? What is the Invincible trophy?
But even in that season, you still lost more games.
I know that we lost in the League Cup that year and in the Champions League and that. I'm saying in the Premier League, played 38, lost none. I'll use my fingers again for you, just so you can see. Zero.
Yeah,
zero,
cool. And that might have been a great achievement if you were able to at least retain it.
And we never retained it. But it's, at the end of the day, it swings and roundabouts. Chelsea can sit here all day long and talk about this, and I can go, we talk about that. At the end of the day, what makes the club the biggest is overall trophies. That's what makes a club, overall trophies. At the end of the day, Liverpool are at the top. Manchester United come along like a juggernaut, overtook Liverpool. Liverpool, as much as they don't want to admit it, they overtook them. Now Liverpool have overtaken Manchester United again because they've won the most trophies. They're the biggest club in England. Manchester United are second, Arsenal are third.
Yeah, look, I think one thing that DT said that I think is right, and then it's context. And I think this is the thing. Like, if you looked at last season and said, right, this is the only season we can review who had the best season, you would put Arsenal in front of Man United because you won a trophy. I think what fans do is fans look at context subjectively always. And that's the problem with it. United fans will go, yeah, but I feel in that second half of the season, we kicked on, we climbed back into top three. If we have a good summer, we're going to start the season and be brilliant. So there isn't a Man United fan worth their salt that would want to swap with Arsenal's position, being 8th and winning the FA Cup. But from an Arsenal fan's point of view, they feel like they've got progression under Arteta. And if they have a good window, they can progress further and catch those teams next year. And that's why we do these rival chats here on the Football Terrace, because it's about rivals challenging each other and pushing each other. And we all see things very, very differently. Boys, I'll get you guys back on again later. I want to jump onto some other callers just quickly before we end this. Stretch of time. There's a few people waiting that we haven't had on before. We've got Ches, who's a Chelsea fan, and we have X-Ray Hinge. X-Ray Hinge. I literally thought that was Lewis Capaldi at first, and then it's not. What do you want to say, bro?
I just want to ask some questions for Mr. DT, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, you can ask one question, bro. Thank you. Go on, mate.
Oh, okay. If you had 50 million to spend this summer, who would you get?
As I said, like, DT talks about big clubs, but my club's seen a progression. Where it's like,
what?
Cheers.
Yo, can you hear me?
Or you've got a big delay on your line.
Mate, are you in a storm? Are you in a storm? What's going on? Is there a storm in your house?
I actually think that's X-rays. Yeah, go on. Answer X-rays question, and then we'll jump on to Ches in a minute, mate. Go on, DT.
Thomas Partey all day long, because I think Thomas Partey is the foundation to be able to build on what we want to do. So he's the most important for me. I think that everything around him takes care of itself. You know, the likes of Nicola Pepe and Aouar and Saka and everyone else can go and express themselves and do what they need to do when they've got that behind them. So, yeah, he for me is the important one. Plus, we've sorted our defence now. Our defence is sorted, so we don't need to spend any money on it.
Of course, Saliba Gabriel would be a great partnership, but we need someone experienced. I think David Luiz doesn't have the foots for that. I mean, like, he's good in some games. It's like Mustafi. You could be good in
Your connection's really bad, bro. Really, really bad. I can barely hear you. Sorry. Ches, can you try and speak now? Go on, mate.
Can you hear me?
That's fine. It wasn't you. It was the other guy. And thank you very much, X-Ray. Out there in the earphone. That did sound like you were in a hurricane. Ches, what were you going to say, bro? And have you got a light, bro, or something? Because
what's that?
Turn the light on so we can see your face. Because you had the camera on, but I couldn't see anything, bro.
There
we go.
I was say it was.
Bro.
Can you hear me?
What do you want to say, bro? Yeah, perfect.
Like,
go for it.
Do you think Arsenal's had any trajectory in the last 10 years? Because I know you won an FA Cup recently, but I just don't know. I feel as though it's a similar cycle. Like Wenger was winning FA Cups and getting fourths, and you guys weren't happy with that. Do you think that you would improve much further with Arteta with the current owners you have? Or would it be stagnate at the end?
Time's going to tell under Mikel Arteta, because the issues with Arsene Wenger, we knew in the first 5-6 years at the Emirates this was going to happen. We were losing our best players. We knew that we had to keep out for the money and everything that was going on, but it then went very sour. Unai Emery come in, it was the wrong appointment. I think that over the last year we've slowly started getting rid of everything that's been stale about Arsenal. And if you're not a fan of Arsenal, you don't see some of the stuff that we see. You might see Ivan Gazidis leave or Unai Emery gets sacked, but you might not know about certain individuals that have been at the club so long, were right in there with Arsene Wenger and a part of that old regime that you need to get rid of. And that's what we've started doing. Even down to the coaches, goalkeeping coaches, analysts, and specialists that do certain things and technical side of things. Mikel Arteta is now starting to bring his people in. We saw last week, I think it was, we brought in a guy from Brentford that's the set piece specialist. We brought in another goalkeeping coach. He's now starting to implement all these little things, and people outside of Arsenal might not see that. They just see what's on the front. They're not invested or they're in deep. But as an Arsenal fan, we're seeing progress. We're seeing something changing at the club that we haven't seen for so long. But ultimately, results are what you're judged upon. So all of this is great, but unless you go and get the results, then it means nothing.
Exactly. And that's why we signed. It's the same thing with Chelsea. We signed all our players. And as much as I want to say, Lampard's off the hook, I love Lampard, but I know for a fact he could get sacked if he doesn't perform. And it's just the way it goes in the business. It's just the way it goes. Too much money involved.
I'd say about a lot of the Chelsea fans that have come on this show in the last few weeks, especially Monstar, and been like, we're going to win the league. They actually think they're going to win. At least they're coming out and saying that. And but we also know if we don't, Lampard might get sacked. At least there's some that you're not giving a kind of big prediction, but then there's no consequence for it not going right. Like I've said, if we bring in Sancho, and there's a lot of rumors that deal is becoming very close to now happening, even though it's very silent. If Sancho's in with Donny van der Beek, or Donald Duck, as DT has now coined him, plus what else we've already got, we've got a top four has got to be easy in the sense of we've got to be qualified with 5, 6, 7 games to go and look comfortable. Otherwise, it's an embarrassment. And you have to set those standards when you're a club the size of Chelsea now, when you're a club the size of Arsenal. But of course, Arsenal for me are a year or so behind that because Arteta's just starting his journey. Arteta's clearing out what he considers to be deadwood, which is why I have a pop at Arsenal fans who I keep seeing like, top 4 next year. We're going to finish in front of Chelsea, Arsenal, in front of United. I think just slow down a little bit because you're going to be the first ones ranting and raving if that doesn't quite happen, even if you do improve. And
the thing is, Terry, the thing is, though, is will Wolves and Leicester have the same season? Because you have to understand, the reason why Wolves and Leicester were in the positions they were is because we were so bad. Arsenal weren't expected to get start of the season 8th. We were expected to get 7 and 6. So
potentially.
I'm not sure.
Leicester have signed a better left back than Ben Chilwell.
We have to see. Let's see about that one. We have to see about that one, Terry.
Serious. They could have actually just bought the best fullback of the window so far. Not the best fullback in the league, but there we go.
Shots fired, but I don't know about that one.
Cheers. I appreciate you coming on, mate. Thank you. DT, I appreciate your time tonight, mate.
No, man, it's been a pleasure, man. It's all right. It's always fun. I enjoy having a little debate with some of the fans that come on and stuff. I like seeing the delusion from other people.
Speaking of delusion, we've got a guy here called Ram, right? Now, this is the weakest Liverpool fan in the world. He's got a nickname. We call him Two-Backer because he hasn't got any chest, right? What you want to say, Ram? What you want to say to DT? That's what I'm intrigued. You're on mute, bruv.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
So I watched your fan debate on AFTV, and one of the questions we're talking about Arsene Wenger and Jurgen Klopp. My question is to you, is there a case for Jurgen Klopp being at the same level as manager as Arsene Wenger and Jose Mourinho? Because personally,
do you know what the thing is? Yeah, is I rate Jurgen Klopp so much, man. What he's come in and done at Liverpool is unbelievable, and he's managed to achieve something that Arsene Wenger hasn't, which is a Champions League. Ultimately, but you know, there's other things that Arsene's done that Jurgen hasn't, but Jurgen's still got time to surpass it, I suppose you could say. But then on the flip side, I think we also need to look at what Arsene Wenger did for English football as a whole. You know, he didn't just come in and win a few trophies with Arsenal and everything else. He revolutionized the English game. And I don't think you're ever going to see that again. And he's a pioneer in that respect. And he's somebody that will always be right at the top with Sir Alex Ferguson. For me, Sir Alex Ferguson is the best manager because his record was just insane, absolutely ridiculous. As much as I hate the Rudolph red nose looking, you know what I mean? But give the man credit. Give the man credit. He was an exceptional manager. And from someone that's grown up in the era of where we hated Manchester United so much and there was that rivalry, to see him and Wenger get on the way that they do now and even elaborate on what used to happen behind the scenes is so good. It's so fascinating. And it shows the competitive streak between the pair of them. And, you know, I think that's a part of football that we'll always remember. So Jurgen Klopp can write his own name in the history books, but I think that there will always be comparisons, but I just don't think that you're going to get any better than Wenger and Sir Alex Ferguson because of what they did.
Yeah, you got also one thing that Jurgen Klopp hasn't got into yet, and I think you need this because, yes, the football is primarily the most important thing, but there's also the wars. Like Liverpool, they're not. Maybe it's because their biggest rivals in terms of titles right now is City, and they're a hollow club in that sense. Like if it was Man United, Liverpool going head to head, I think you'd see managers getting into scraps, players getting into scrap, words of war in the media. That is, I think, what brought for fans. That's what made that era in the Premier League with Fergie and Wenger so memorable, because there was like genuine hatred, but underneath it all, there's respect, but there was genuine hatred and there was flack, and it was, you just honor each other. I feel like with City and Liverpool, I kind of feel like they're going through it together, almost holding hands, singing la la la. I know they've had the thing with the bus. I know they've had a few little moments, but it just doesn't compare. And when I can
have that fire,
there isn't that fire. And when I consider that I'm involved in this in the sense of I cover games now, we speak to fans every day. You do not see the same tension between City and Liverpool fans as you did between Arsenal and Man United in the 90s and early noughties. And I think that further the manager's legacy, you know, winning the title at Old Trafford for Wenger, with all the flack between the two clubs, makes Arsenal fans love Wenger more. You know, the battle at Old Trafford, Pizzagate, you know, beating the Invincibles at sea, like those things, those moments, those games elevate everything about that era of football. And I think until Liverpool go through that, although, you know, even with the Centurions team, what have they done? It's just been like a walk in the park. It hasn't created those moments. You kind of got it a little bit in the early days with City when you had the noisy neighbours and Man United. There was flack. You see, it created quite a good rivalry. But yeah, Liverpool and City's rivalry is just, it's a bit wet. Do you get what I mean? It's like two friends.
Artificial.
Yeah, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. Maybe that's because City are an artificial club or whatever. So maybe that's part of it, mate. But there we go. Ram, appreciate you coming on, mate. DT, I appreciate your time, as I just said, mate. When's the next episode?
When you've recorded the voiceover.
I ain't done that yet, have I?
No, you ain't done it yet. No, I only got it today. I only got the finished edit today. It was our final preseason game last week. We actually conceded a goal. So yeah, I was fuming. I weren't happy. I wanted to go through the whole of preseason without conceding a shot on goal, let alone an actual goal. Because in our first 3 games, no one's even had a shot on target against us, and you've had a lot of fun in commentary.
Some of the players you've been up against, especially last team with their what is it called, their lockdown bodies. You could see like they enjoyed lockdown, those boys. Once you get that sent through, I look forward to it. For everybody else, we'll get that done. Make sure everyone subscribes to DTFC. Got their own YouTube channel now. Make sure you go and check that out, mate. I appreciate you coming on. And we'll chat to you again soon, mate. All right?
Yeah, man. Definitely.
Yeah, mate. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Smash the like button, and we'll see you all again soon. Peace.